Hello and thank you for watching Guitar 101 Rammstein. To start off, I've got some news, some good news and bad news. Let's start with the bad news. My day job, where I'm normally teaching as a music instructor for a military base, is they've had me on leave since mid-December due to COVID. And before that, I was working, not doing my normal job there, just assigned to random work against what I was really signed up to do. But I just got informed I have to start back to work again next week. Not teaching, doing just like useless work. Really, it's very annoying, and it's not the same schedule I'd normally have. Like I had there for almost the last 15 years. It's a pretty random schedule, so that's going to cut a lot out of my spare time. Good news is I've got a really cool video lesson for you. We're going to learn a scale and an exercise with it. It's one I recently learned on Baglama, and it's been a really good one. I like this one a lot. And also, my channel is growing back, very close to getting monetization again. I just need some more viewing hours. So that will keep me still, even if I'm going to be busy, I'll still try to do at least like a video a week. It's just my schedule is going to be pretty hectic for who knows how long. So we're going to jump into this video. I'm going to be using my long neck Balgama today. You can do this on short neck. It's just going to be a different tuning and different frets. So I'm going to go through the exercise, and I'm going to write in the description below what frets you would actually be using if you're playing the short neck to do what I'm doing. And if you guys really want to see a video separately for just the short neck on this, just leave a comment below and I'll get to that. But for now, I think you can figure it out. Just the only thing is it's going to be tuned different. In this case, you can use any tuning you want. It's just going to be a different pitch. It's all going to work the same because we're playing all this on one string. It'll just be lower or higher in pitch. I'm currently tuned to E, the string closest to the ceiling. My middle strings are also E, and my bottom strings are B. So E, E, B. Alright, it's very similar to the last tuning video I did where I used G flat, E, B. So if you have that tuning, it's a real easy one to adjust pretty quickly. You just tune those top two strings closest to the ceiling down to E instead of G flat. But unnecessary, like I said, you can use any tuning, but if you have your bottom strings at least tuned to B, you'll be able to play along to this if you want and have it sounding exactly the same. All right, so what we're actually going to be playing here it's called the Phrygian Mode. It's a mode of the major scale. And it's a very cool, it has a very Middle Eastern sound to it in general. This can be played on guitar, piano, whatever. And there's quite a bit we'll learn at the same time doing this. We're going to be learning the scale. You can learn the notes on the fretboard this way very easily. And we're going to be learning picking technique. We're going to be learning how to play to a metronome and finger exercises that are very, very useful. Position shifts as well we're going to learn. And it's a good dexterity exercise. So we'll jump into it. Before we do, here's a recommendation, is to mark your frets, because I'm going to be referring to the frets by number. So, the top one here is the first fret, then second fret, third, fourth, fifth. We're going to go all the way up to 24. And you might look and say, I don't have a 24th fret. We'll get to that in a minute. So what I did is just took some masking tape and marked on the side of the top of my neck so I could see it. Put some masking tape at the frets I want to mark and wrote in the fret number. That will make things a lot easier to learn and follow the video. What I would recommend is mark at least these frets: 7, 8, 11, 14, 17, 18, 21, 23. While you're at it, it doesn't hurt to also mark fret 4 and fret 1. I'll put those in the description below, and also, like I said, it's going to be different for the short neck, different fret numbers, but it's the same scale. All right, so instead of trying to memorize all the notes at once, here's an easier way. I always teach this way on guitar too for teaching these kinds of scales. I'm going to play through them all, and then we're going to cut them into groups. So it's going to be 7, 8, 11, 14, 17, 18, 21, 23. And that's going to be the last fret. But if you just go past that fret off the fretboard, that will be your fret 24. All right, so what we're going to actually do is just start with the first two notes, 7 and 8, and go back and forth like this. And what you really want to do is, when you're doing this, also start practicing your alternate picking. So I'm always going down, up, down, up. So it's like. See, I keep my first finger down. I don't have to lift it. I don't want to lift it. I'm just moving my middle finger to that fret 8 and lifting. So you're going to get good with synchronizing the right and left hands. So you're going back and forth to 7 and 8. Then the next position, we scoot over 1 fret. So index on 8, ring finger will go to 11. And what I'd recommend is take, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 position shifts. So take 1 and add it on at a time. So I'm going to go through the first 2 back and forth. Once you feel comfortable with that and you have it memorized, then we're going to add on the third position. That's 11 to 14. Index on 11, ring finger to 14. And run those together. And I'll just keep adding on. So now we're going to walk through all of them in order, and that's how you'll add on to it. So it's going to be 7 and 8. And what I recommend at first is repeat them like, count them in eighth notes. So I'm actually going to be doing 8 times per position. So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That was 7 and 8, and now 8 and 11. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now 11 and 14. Now 14 and 17. Now 17 and 18, and here we can use the middle finger instead of the ring since they're right next to each other. And now 18 and 21. 21 and 23. And 23, and that fret that's not there, it would be 24. All right, so just add them on position by position until you memorize it, and then we start practicing it. And I would recommend going like, we can do a rhythm. You can if you're not really used to a metronome, which takes some practice, just follow the metronome and count like in eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If you're really beginning with it, it feels like a struggle. Stay on those groups longer. Do 16 times instead of 8. So it'd be like counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and twice. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right. I highly recommend you put on a metronome. If you don't have one, just go to Google, type in online metronome, and we see here there's a slider with this number next to BPM. Start somewhere easy, maybe 70 beats per minute. If it feels too hard, slow it down a bit, 60, whatever. So I'm going to throw that on, and I'm going to run through this exercise completely. Nope. Now I'm going to do the same thing backwards. Okay, and you want to get that where you can practice it, repeat it until it feels like you can play it perfectly, repeat it a few times without making mistakes. Then speed it up. Speed it up in gradual increments. Don't go from 70 beats per minute to 150. Go like 70, maybe to 75. The faster, the higher those numbers get, the smaller increments you're going to make, but you'll find you increase your speed that way. All right, so that's a very easy, the starting version where you're going to be able to, learn the scale really well. To step it up a notch, I'll make less repetitions in each position. So there I was doing, I think, 8 notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I can do 4 notes per position. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's going to make it a little bit harder because you're going to have to shift faster. You don't have, when you're sitting on the same 2 notes, you have a bit more time to think where that next position is. And finally, we're going to look into the next level of this. And we're going to take this in 3 note groups. This is going to be a bit harder, going to be requiring some stretches and more work for your fingers, but it's an excellent exercise. So instead of just 7 and 8 for the first position, I'm going to go 7, 8, 11, and then 8, 7. So 1, 2, up the notes, down the notes. And I'm going index on 7, middle on 8, little finger on 11. And every time I'm just going to move 1 note up that scale. So I move to 8, and it's 8, 11, 14. This one's going to be a stretch. If you can't reach that, try to. Your fingers will learn to reach it. Or if you have really small fingers, you will have to maybe kind of like rock. When you get to that 11th fret with the middle finger, I'm going to kind of pivot towards. But ideally, you want to try to leave that finger on the 8th fret down. You want to, that's your goal to reach for. No pun intended. Next position is 11, 14, and 17. Same fingering. Next position is 14, 17, 18. 17, 18, 21. 18, 21, 23. And the last one is 21, 23 in that pretend 24th fret. And again, we can do that forwards and backwards. Try forwards at first and then go work backwards and then back and forth. And same, I'll put the metronome on and just work at an easy pace. You don't want to try to play full speed, especially even when I sit down to first play this. I'm going to start at a nice easy pace just to warm up. And then I'll start increasing it. And if you do that on a daily routine or close to a daily routine, you should see your speed is going up on that metronome, on the beats per minute number. So if I'm starting at 70 and spend a good 10, 20, 30 minutes working on this, next day I'm going to start back off at the same speed, but I'm going to see I can reach higher speeds. I can bump it up to 75, maybe 80. Next day I might be able to get to 85. You should see some improvement. If you hit a wall where you're not improving or able to get any faster with it, then that's where it's time to look at what you could be doing wrong or what you could be changing. There could be something wrong in your movement. But if you follow the way I'm showing you this, the movement will be correct and it should help you. There's a lot you can play around with these notes. Once you memorize them, that's the next step too, is just to jumble them up, but just use those notes. The actual notes we're playing in this tuning, it's going to change if we change tunings. If this string was not tuned to, what am I at, B. If we tune it to A, it's going to change the notes. But in this case where this bottom string's closest to the ground are tuned to B, the actual notes I'm playing, it's alphabetical in the musical alphabet. So the first note is E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and that 24th fret is F. All right, so you can actually, if it helps to say the notes or even sing them as you play them, and then you can start memorizing your fretboard, which I'm not so good at because I changed my tuning so much. But it's nice to be able to figure it out. If you remember, it's the alphabet E, F, G, and after there's no H in music, so E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. And it just repeats from there if you keep going. So it's kind of a multitasking thing, but really what you're going to get out of it is learning to play in key and a scale, and also very good finger exercise. And get the picking hand is going to get some work. It's a all-around good exercise that's kind of multitasking. Like I said, if you guys want me to do one on the short neck, just let me know in the comments below. But if you look in the description below, you'll see I write out the fret numbers for the long neck and for the short neck. And you can use any tune. I could do it on any string. I'm going to play it on the E strings. I'll use the middle ones. And you'll see for this pretend fret, what I call it, the 24th fret, it's very sensitive to where exactly you put your finger, since there's no, it's pretty much like playing a fretless instrument. So if it's a little bit too close to the fret, it's going to sound flat. If it's too far, it's going to sound sharp. So you kind of got to use your ears for that. And you'll figure out where exactly to place it. There's good. But if I go too short, too close to my index finger, see, it's flat. If I go too far, it's like a fretless instrument anytime you play beyond that last 23rd fret. That's it. Thanks for watching, and leave comments, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Till next time.